Alright folks, if you look right above me you'll see a big grey cloud and lots of soccer footballs coming right down on me. That's because it was raining goals in game week 2. There was 44 goals scored in the Premier League, which was a new record. Smashed the previous record by 5 goals, and I'm happy to say that some of those goals were attributed to my FPL team as it went for game week 2. A really successful week. In this video I'm going to recap it very briefly because I want to talk about my transfers that I've already made for game week 3. My hand was forced slightly because of price changes or potential price changes with the players that I wanted to get and the players I wanted to release. So I'll talk a little bit about that, and also I'm going to concentrate mostly through this video on the captaincy decision, because in my mind game week 3 is the first real captaincy dilemma. There are a range of options out there, and I feel like there will be a split amongst choices in the community too. So I did a deep dive into who I think I should choose because I needed to make my own mind up. So that will be the main feature of this video. I'll be profiling the captaincy options and coming to a conclusion as well as to who I'm going to captain. Pretty certain of it now. So without further ado, let's take a look at game week 2. It was a cracking game week for me, I'm not going to lie. 86 points scored, a game week rank of 470k thereabouts, which pushes my overall rank right up to 55,336, which is a great start. It's a fantastic start. As you know, if you've watched my previous videos, I'm trying to eclipse my rank of last year, which was 1,840. So I'm keeping track of it during the course of these videos on my quest to beat last year's rank. Looking briefly then at my team, I don't want to dwell on it too long. 10 goals scored amongst this lot, which was absolutely fantastic. Son with his 4 goals, what a great surprise that was. And then a brace from Mitrovic, a hat-trick from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Everton are looking really strong with the likes of James Rodriguez and Richarlison in there. Aubameyang then was the captain, a little bit of a letdown. He'd still got his assists, mind you, which was great. So not a complete blank. Salah, Shaw didn't do much for me. Werner as well didn't really produce. Trent Alexander-Arnold got his clean sheet and bonus point, and then James Justin got a goal, which was a huge shock. And it really was topping off. For me, it was the cherry on the cake in terms of how this game week went for me. It was really great. And I don't expect it to happen all that often this season. There will be highs and lows, peaks and troughs, but this just was a great peak to start off the season. As I said, I'm not going to dwell on it too long because I feel like I just need to look onwards and upwards and consolidate this great start. I don't want to praise myself over past glory, so to speak. Let's move and look into game week 3 and my lineup. I've already made my transfers. So I had 2 free transfers going into this week. Aubameyang has a tough swing of fixtures. He plays 3 out of the top 6 in the next 6 game weeks. So I wanted to get rid of him as a premium option to bring in a captaincy premium midfielder, and Kevin De Bruyne took the biscuit with his goal and assist against Wolves. So he really did pass the eye test in Man City's opening game. So he came straight in for Aubameyang, and that left me to think about an Alan say maximum 5.5 million replacement. And watching that Wolves Man City game, my eyes were firmly kept on Podence and Pedro Neto, 2 5.5 million midfielders, essentially playing quite advanced in this Wolves team. A Wolves team that now does not have Diogo Jota to kind of tussle for that position on the left or right of Raul Jimenez. So I was looking to see which one of those guys would impress the most, and I have to say Daniel Podence was fantastic. He got another assist to add to the assist he had in game week 1. He is speedy, can get behind defences, and I feel like he'll form a decent partnership with Raul Jimenez throughout the course of this season. At 5.5 million, he's a snip. I got him in. Wolves have a very tasty run of fixtures too coming up. Things are looking good for them, so I'm happy with what I have now. There are weak points in this team, I'm not going to lie. Mitrovic, I feel, was a little fortunate to get his brace. and he is on the chopping block along with Timo Werner. But I'm not going to rush to get them. I'm going to give them a chance to impress and keep their place in the squad. So let's see what happens. Very happy with the Ollie Burke minutes. He played 90 for Sheffield United in game week 2. And out of position, 4.5 million midfielder playing up front. So one to keep an eye on. And I'm putting James Justin locked on my bench purely based on the Man City fixture. I feel like they'll grab a couple of goals against Leicester. Well, they might not. But I do feel like it's better to go with Kyle Walker-Peters away to Burnley. For maybe his assist potential, and I don't know. Well, Burnley are tight at home, not so good away. But I feel like Southampton will need to bounce back based on that miserable defeat to Spurs in game week 2. So hopefully that will work out for me. Not too much to say. This team kind of picks itself. Now you're looking at the captaincy. That's not locked in because I'm going to talk about captaincy in a while. I have it on Salah there, but let's just keep moving on and concentrate on the feature this week, which was the captaincy option. So what I'm going to do is, as you can see, I have players that have performed very well recently in the likes of Heung-min Son, De Bruyne, Salah, Calvert-Lewin and Werner. 5 very, very decent candidates for the armband in game week 3. The captaincy is the most important decision you'll make. It's double points, as everyone knows, and it can make or break. Even a bad game week can be turned around based on a very, very well considered captaincy choice. So this is what I've done. Well, actually, before this, I'm going to look at my watch list and just put in a couple of the notable additions based on the eye test and stats from game week 2. So as I've mentioned, Pedro Neto, 5.5 million. He was very impressive. He takes some corners. He has a lot of assist potential. Made some dangerous runs into the opponent's half as well. So he's added to the watch list. I do have Podence already in my team. Neto is one to keep an eye on, maybe as I don't know, another option if something else comes up in my team and somebody needs to be replaced. Patrick Bamford and Click are being added for Leeds. Leeds look like they're scoring goals for fun so far. A very attacking-minded team Marcelo Bielsa has there, and Click is on penalties too, so I like that. Bamford's only 5.5 million, so potential Mitrovic replacement. In talking about Mitrovic replacements, Mopé and Chris Wood are both 6 million. Mopé impressed with 2 goals and an assist as Brighton, who look really good, and I feel like there will be no pushovers for Man United in game week 3. Mopé is also on penalties, as is Chris Wood, I believe. And then the duo of Saiss and Bowley, both defenders for Wolves. As I mentioned earlier, Wolves have a nice, tasty run of fixtures coming up. So definitely those two guys need to be considered. I have the likes of Luke Shaw at 5 million in my team. If United continue not to start the season the way they wanted to, then I have a couple of drafts there that I can maybe call upon if needed. Notable removals then for the watch list. I'm going to get rid of Jack Harrison because I have a lot of 5.5 million options now already with the likes of Grady Diangana, Neto, as I mentioned, and a few others that are in there. I don't know if Jack Harrison is one I'll be considering. I also feel like if I was going for a player for Leeds, I would go for the penalty taker based on the amount of penalties there's been so far this season. Shea Adams is out of there. Again, Southampton are looking shaky. And if I was going to choose someone, it would be Danny Ings. There's no point on stinging there. Shea Adams just can't finish his dinner, so I don't know if he's going to score many goals this season. Sergio Aguero has to come off the watch list because I don't think he's due to play anytime soon. Pep Guardiola's comments are indicating that he's going to be a while out yet. And then Sam Johnston, basically because West Brom have been so poor, they've shipped 7 goals in the last 2 game weeks. And I'm not really going to consider a 4.5 million goalkeeper in their squad when there's other options like Matt Ryan around at the same price point. Right, so on to what I really wanted to talk about, which is the captaincy. So this is something that I've really had to think about over the last while. I watched pretty much the majority of the games this weekend. Recency bias would point towards Kevin De Bruyne with his goal and last minute assist in that game, 13 points scored. City missed game week 1, obviously, so the statistics available are not ideal in terms of the range and quality of them for the teams that have only played 1 game. But I picked out these 5 guys as potential candidates. I've got Heung-min Son after his 4-goal bonanza, Kevin De Bruyne, as I mentioned, Mo Salah, who's just Mr. Reliable when it comes to double-digit hauls, Timo Werner, who is yet to really impress, but I know what he's capable of, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, pretty much new kid on the block, the new budget striker to have. This year's Timo Pukki, well, hopefully not in terms of drying up in the goal front because I haven't, but in terms of an explosive start to the season, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been right up there. So what I've done is I've broken it into a couple of categories. I'm going to rank all these 5 in terms of how to match up against each other. And in 1, 2, 3, 4, so 7, I've divided it into 7 different ranges. Number 1 is fixture. So quite simply, I've popped in the fixture difficulty rating in there. So Leicester and Arsenal at home for Man City and Liverpool respectively, and then the easier fixtures come along for Spurs at home to Newcastle for Heung-min Son. Timo Werner probably has the pick though, away to West Brom. As I said, they have started very, very poorly this season and look quite leaky at the back. And then Crystal Palace away. Now it's green, it's a 2 FDR rating for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's Everton, but I do think that might need to be tweaked because of how well Palace have performed in the opening games. But anyway, that's the way it stands. It doesn't bode very well for De Bruyne and Salah in terms of the overall picture of the matches that they have, but they are at home, so that is another thing to consider. They do have the more difficult fixtures in Leicester and Arsenal, both top 6 teams, but that's the way it is. At the end of all this, I'm gonna kind of rank them in comparison to each other, and then ultimately decide on my captain. So I'll move on to the next category, which is shots per 90 minutes, and I've had to make it per 90 minutes because, as you know, Kevin De Bruyne and Man City have only played 1 game, and the rest of the 5 have played 2. So in terms of shots per 90, Mo Salah comes out on top with 6.24. He has been completely peppering it was mostly game week 1, to be honest. I think he has 15 shots or so in total for the 2 game weeks. Coming in then on second is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He scored 4 goals already, and he's had 4.54 shots per 90 minutes. And then it's Kevin De Bruyne with his 4 shots in game week 2. Timo Werner and Heung-min Son then are close. They're in and around 3 shots per 90 minute. Next category I've looked at is the chances created. Again, this is per 90 minutes, as you know, ratioed out for the 2 game weeks. So Heung-min Son, 2.39 chances created. He is sitting in and around 3rd, but the guy who takes the spoils here by a long margin is Kevin De Bruyne with his really, really impressive display against Wolves in his opening game. 5.66 chances created. He's playing it looks like he's playing in the hole behind the Sterling and Jesus, and he's definitely been indicated as being positioned there for the next while anyway from Pep Guardiola. So it looks like he's going to be involved in a lot of plays, put it that way. Mo Salah has a high potential assist in terms of chances created. He's 4.32, and then lagging really far behind are the 2 strikers, FPL forwards here, Timo Werner and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 0.96, 0.57, so not really creating too much up front, the 2 guys. Next category I've looked at is penalty touches. Again, this is per 90 minutes. Mo Salah absolutely wipes the floor with everybody else, 14.41 penalty touches per 90 minutes. It's kind of tight. Everyone's kind of bunched in behind him in and around 6.61 for Kevin De Bruyne. Again, indicative of the fact that he's playing a little bit more advanced and getting very much involved now. And then you have Timo Werner and Dominic Calvert-Lewin in and around the same as Heung-min Son. Next category I looked at was penalties, free kicks and corners. As I said earlier, penalties are just so important now. So many goals scored in the opening 2 game weeks from penalty takers, the likes of Vardy, Salah in game week 1, De Bruyne. It's such a great boon and benefit for your player to be on penalties. And free kicks and corners are also great for assist potential. Kevin De Bruyne really, he covers, he takes the clean sweep there. It's a yes for penalties, yes for free kicks, and yes for all corners. So it's literally every single set piece Kevin De Bruyne is on, except for throw-ins and goal kicks, obviously, which is just super to have. And Mo Salah then, it takes penalties, which is great. It's just, again, so important. But then look at the likes of Heung-min-son. Okay, he takes the odd corner from the right-hand side, but there's nothing there for the two strikers. Werner might be on penalties. I put a question mark in there because the fact that Jorginho was missed, it's unlikely that Jorginho is going to be dropped because he's such an elusive penalty taker and has great history. I think that's only the second time he's missed in his professional career, so unlikely that Werner will take that penalty position. But maybe if Frank Lampard wants him to become the talisman, he might give him that responsibility. There's nothing for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which is a little bit annoying. But we'll move on from penalties, free kicks and corners to look at XGI per 90. Now you might be scratching your head thinking, what am I talking about? I'm getting way too deep with the stats here. Expected goal involvement per 90 minutes is what that stands for. So it's what they are expected to get in terms of goals or assists combined per 90 minutes. And it's based on the quality of chances that they're creating and the quality of opportunities that they have in terms of shots on target, or off target. It's based on the position on the field where they've created or they have an opportunity. A little bit complex, but it's ranked out here anyway, and we have 1.41 for Salah, who comes out on top in terms of XGI per 90. Now, one thing I should note is that penalties have a quite high XGI, or expected goals amount. I think it's just close to 1, so it is a little bit flawed here, and you have to take it with a pinch of salt, but it is what it is, and we have to just kind of come to some sort of conclusion with the statistics at hand. So 1.41 for Mo Salah. Second then is De Bruyne, closely behind, 1.28. Now he had a penalty also in game week 2. And then you have Heung-min-son, which is pretty good. 0.78 is his XGI per 90, so he is expected to maybe produce a goal or assist 0.78 of the times every game. And then the two guys are excuse me, I've completely messed that up, because look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, 1.55. He actually is ahead of Mo Salah in terms of XGI per 90, and that speaks volumes for the great positions that he's been getting himself into for his goals, because he's been scoring tap-ins, and that's a great sign for an FPL asset to have him just scoring little tap-ins. I think he was assisted by Richarlison, and he scored from half a yard out in one of his goals, and then he had a little back heel tap-in as well for in and amongst his hat-trick. So excuse me, I jumped onto Mo Salah there when I didn't, and ignored Dominic Calvert-Lewin way over on the right. He has the best XGI per 90, so something to note there. Moving on to the last category that I looked at, and that is based on the opponents right up there at the fixture, opponents' shots conceded so far. So Newcastle at home for Spurs. Newcastle have conceded 28 shots, and Leicester at home, they've conceded 23. Arsenal with the least, 19 shots conceded. They've done very well defensively. Arsenal, I think they've only conceded 1 goal in the first 2 game weeks, which is a marked improvement on them from last season, early last season especially. West Brom away are the worst defence so far. 30 shots conceded by West Brom in the opening 2 game weeks, which is probably why they are the whipping boys of the Premier League right now, that they have that crown. 26 then for Palace away, which I thought was surprising. Maybe I think they got peppered a little bit by Man United in game week 2, which is why that's coming out as 26. But as you can see, Timo Werner and Chelsea definitely do have the best fixture for the game week. But does that really convince you to go with a Timo Werner who hasn't scored a goal in the Premier League yet? I don't think it does. What I've done now is I've color coded. So I have taken the 7 categories, and I have ranked everybody from 1st to 5th and applied the same color coding as the official FDR rankings actually. So you'll see that shots per 90, Salah comes out on top. Chances created per 90 minutes, Kevin De Bruyne comes out on top. Salah comes in second. Penalty touches per 90 minutes. Mo Salah comes out on top again, 14.41 by a long margin to Kevin De Bruyne in second at 6.61. Penalties, free kicks and corners, there's only one winner there, and that's Kevin De Bruyne. He literally takes all of them. So that's just a huge boon, as I said. Mo Salah with his penalties is definitely ahead then, or is definitely coming in on second place there. XGI per 90, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as I mentioned, with Mo Salah coming in second and not too far behind Kevin De Bruyne. And an opponent's shots conceded. So who has the easiest fixture? It's clear to see that West Brom do. They've conceded 30 shots in the first 2 games, and close behind is Newcastle with 28. So what does this conclude? Well, you can visually see that there's a lot of green in there for Mo Salah, and there's plenty in there too for Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I will say that Mo Salah's stats are more complete because he's played 2 game weeks, and Kevin De Bruyne's sample is much smaller with his only 1 game played. I also do have a little bit of a bias towards Mo Salah because of that game week 1 hat-trick and 20 points scored. But I do also have a recency bias to Kevin De Bruyne because he is the last player I've seen play live, and he got his goal and assist in 13 FPL points. I do have another thing to mention about Leicester at home as a fixture. Well, Leicester are going to be away themselves. They have Johnny Evans coming back into defence, and that will shore up things considerably. They have missed him in the first 2 game weeks. They were playing the likes of Wilfred and Ndidi, and had they did not seem right at the back, and they still need to improve right there. But I don't know. Right now, what I'm looking at is this, which is the captaincy going on to Mo Salah again. Reward him for what he did in game week 1, and knowing how lethal he is at Anfield, he just really is a beast there. And the vice is on Kevin De Bruyne, my shiny new FPL asset. But it's a tough one. I might change. I don't think I will. I'm probably 90% certain that what I've done here and the research that I've completed justifies the captaincy decision that I came to. In saying that, there is a Liverpool and Man City game. Sorry, there's a Carabao Cup game on Thursday, so you never know. Maybe something will happen in there that will convince me otherwise of this decision, or maybe De Bruyne will get injured, or Salah might come off with a knock or something. You don't know. So I can never say for certainty that this is what I'm going to do, but I'm fairly convinced on Salah. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to just go back up and leave you with my team setup and for game week 3. My mini league is still open. There's a link in the description of YouTube here. You can auto join. There's a prize of 1 Litecoin to the winner at the end of the season, and I'd encourage you all to join in there. I'm closing it after this game week because it's unfair to those who've been scoring from game week 1. Yeah, that's it. I hope all you guys had. I hope you're fairly certain on your decisions in terms of game week 3. Don't go crazy on the hits, as the patient game really did win out in game week 2. Some of the top sold players ended up performing really, really well and outscoring their counterparts that a lot of people went for, the likes of Bruno Fernandes. So it is a patient game. At the end of the day, there's just no need to panic at this early stage, no matter what you've done up to this time. Concentrate on the big decisions, the captaincy, and things like that, and hopefully it'll get you through. I wish you the best of luck. Plenty of green arrows. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and drop some comments in there with any dilemmas you have yourselves, any transfer decisions you need to make, or whatever it might be. I'll chip in and give you my 10 cents. Okay, take care, and see you all next week.